Hi, welcome to Game Time. I'm your host, Zac Hill. We've been watching a lot of Standard right now, but I actually want to take it back to earlier in the tournament when we were watching Limited to look at some of the plays that really stood out to me from some of the best players in the game. You know, a lot of the time we talk about really good Magic, and we think that's what you do, something proactive that you create, something that you can look at and say, that was brilliant. But a lot of the times, the best plays are what you don't do. Having the discipline to hold back and be patient and be rewarded for it. So we're going to go through some clips and watch players who have been a little bit patient, have been waiting to pull the trigger, and how that's really paid off for them today. So I'd like to take a look at this first clip. Now we're going to see Hall of Famer Rob Doherty against Matteo Orsini-Jones. Now I want you to look at Matteo's hand. He draws lands right now. He's playing a 5-color control deck, but he chooses not to play his fifth land drop, his sixth land drop. Now, why is he going to do that? It doesn't make a lot of sense. He's playing a very mana-intensive deck, a deck that requires a lot of lands and a lot of colors. Yet, nevertheless, he just holds the land in his hand. Well, why is that? It turns out his opponent, Rob, is about to make him discard 2 cards. Now, you see Orsini-Jones very quickly bin the 2 lands that he held in his hand. Well, why? He's holding a Merciless Eviction. So we can take a look at our next clip right now. That Merciless Eviction would turn out to matter a lot. That's a card that can kill every creature on the board. Now, you see Orsini-Jones reading a Primordial. This is going to put a Sepulchral Primordial on the table, along with Orsini-Jones' own Guardian of the Gateless. Now, if he hadn't held those lands, he would not have the Wrath in his hand to be able to deal with it. But instead, we're going to see what happens. He simply untaps and casts his Wrath, and it's really no big deal. It's not often that you recover from a Sepulchral Primordial, taking away the best creature in your deck, but as we're going to see in a little bit, that's exactly what happens. You see the Merciless Eviction there, and Doherty, who thinks he's in the driver's seat, realizes that no, he's going to have to come back yet again. Turns out he doesn't do that, though. If we can take a look at our very next clip, we're going to see that Doherty wasn't the only player with a Primordial in his deck. In fact, Orsini-Jones taps 7 right here, casts his own Primordial, takes out Doherty's last creature, and is going to wind up winning the match. So we see patience paying off for Orsini-Jones as he's able to play around the discard spell even in his control deck that would normally take away his last 2 threats. That patience won him the game. All right, so let's take a look at our second clip. We're going to see again the next match. We've got a good friend of mine, Gurga Petric-Meritic, against up-and-comer Ben Friedman. Got a lot of cards on the table. Friedman playing a Boros deck, Petric-Meritic playing a Gruul deck. You see a lot of cards on the table. Now it turns out, Petric-Meritic, he's got a 4-mana card in his hand, but he plays a Slaughterhorn instead. Now why does he do that? He's holding a Pit Fight, and he knows he's going to need to interact on Friedman's turn. Now Friedman, though, has a Holy Mantle. Holy Mantle is a card that's going to let him take out get any blocker through. But does he cast it? No, he doesn't. Instead, he simply holds it in his hand because he knows that Meritic is telegraphing a removal spell. Now, ordinarily, you'd want to cast it right here. You could clear through, and you've got to win the game in a board stall. But instead, he holds it. He casts Madcap Skills. Now, he knows that Meritic is holding a removal spell. Why does he cast Madcap Skills? Well, he's trying to bait the removal spell out of Meritic's hand. Meritic takes the bait, gets a 2-for-1, is feeling really good about himself, but he walks right into the Holy Mantle that in fact wins Friedman the game. Now let's take a look at the next clip. Again, we see this, it's Meritic taking up his card. So I want to look at the next match between Hall of Famers V. Mauschwitz and Rob Doherty that we've seen before. Now if you look at Mauschwitz's hand, he draws 3 spells this entire match. And yet he goes on to win the game. How? By being patient and doing what he needs to win. You see him cast a Leyline Phantom right here. That's the first time he does it, and he evolves his Krakenura. But we're going to see that isn't the last time it happened today. If we can take a look at our next clip. Board looks a lot the same. We see Mauschwitz draw yet another land, another blank, something that he cannot use. What does he do? He attacks. Now you see Doherty over here. He's got a board full of creatures. Looks like he's in pretty good shape. Now he doesn't have white mana, which is going to turn out to be a deciding factor today. But Mauschwitz doesn't have anything either. So what does he do? He attacks, simply plays his Phantasm, evolves his Krakenura, and says go. We can take a look at our next clip. It's going to look very, very familiar. Again, we see a lot of creatures on the board. Doherty at 19 life. Mauschwitz, again, draws another blank. But he doesn't get mad. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't say, oh, okay, well, I'm so unlucky. Simply attacks with Phantom, plays it again, evolves a Krakenura. You see Doherty losing one of his creatures this time. He doesn't want to fall to a low life total. Mauschwitz creeping slowly ahead. The Krakenura getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Doherty draws his card. Let's take a look at the next clip. See again, the Phantasm, the Krakenura, a 2/1, not really doing a whole lot. Mauschwitz again draws another blank. But this time all the creatures get in the red zone, and that Krakenura big enough now to fight due to the tenacity of Mauschwitz. Doherty's still at 19 life, but he's going to take a big hit on this attack. So what happens? Is the tide turning? Let's take a look at the next clip. See Mauschwitz, same cards, but this attack looks very different. Doherty, 8 life points. It's not a lot of life. You see him right there. He's got one creature, can't really do a whole lot with it. Tide really shifting. Mauschwitz, same 3 threats on the board. Doherty rearranging his lands, not really a whole lot he can do. He's got to block somewhere. Mauschwitz has to sacrifice a creature. He's going to lose a 2/1, doesn't really care a whole lot about that. So how many times can this happen? Well, let's take a look. If we can check out the next clip right here, you see a pretty similar board, but a very different set of circumstances. Mauschwitz draws a 0/1, not the card you want on the 9th turn of the game. You see Doherty, now he's forced to block the Phantasm, block the Krakenura, pick up his board. He's got 1 card left, he's at 1 life. Mauschwitz still has not contributed another meaningful point of power to the board. But what happens? Well, let's take a look. See Doherty untapping, takes a look at his hand, yet another white spell he can't cast. And, you know, he's had a bad draw, but so is Zvi. But Zvi didn't give up. You see Doherty throw his hand on the table, and the Hall of Famer takes the match. So, what's the moral of all this story? Well, the moral of the story is sometimes your draws don't turn out the way you want them to be. But you can't give up. You can't get upset. You can't be sad. Sometimes the game of Magic isn't just about emptying your hand on the table. You have to be patient, you have to wait, and you have to figure out the path that's going to allow you to win. Sometimes it means playing a very intensive deck, holding 2 lands in your hand because you know your opponent's playing discard and you need to throw him away. Waiting out, making him commit his threats so you can use your wrath to clear his board. Sometimes it means walking into a 2-for-1 you know is there. Playing your madcap skills on your best creature to make your opponent commit so you can play the card that really matters to win the game. And then finally, sometimes it means working with what you have, playing the same card over and over and over again until eventually it wins you the game. These are great Magic players we're watching today. These are great matches of Magic we're watching today. And as much as I enjoy watching them, I enjoy learning from the best players in the game even more than that. I'm Zac Hill. This is Game Time. Let's watch some more Magic.